The Undead Coming Armageddon is a brand new Roblox zombie game that's practically exploded in players. The game stands out from other Roblox zombie games thus far because it's the first one where I can recall that playing zombie is actually fun. So far, there's 6 zombies that are in the game, each with their own unique abilities and stats. Since the game offers you an incentive for winning as a zombie, you might need some help deciding which zombies are the best to use in most given situations. I'm Breadian, and I talk about niche Roblox games, and today I'm making a zombie tier list for the Undead Coming. The tier list is subject to change, and hopefully it will, because I'm going to be pointing out some issues and some frustrating things, as per usual, that the player base might be upset at. With that being said, make sure to suplex that like button, and we'll get right into the video.
You thought I was filming you? Oh yeah!
We're starting off this tier list with the Kami zombie, also known in the game as a Detonator zombie. In the original 2021 iteration of the Undead Coming, the Detonator was by far the worst zombie.
For the boomer, oh my god, it f***ing sucks. You have to explode manually. You don't explode if somebody kills you, and I think that this just kind of speaks for itself.
If you got this zombie, it was basically an instant reset so that you could have another chance at a better zombie. These things were slow as all hell, did not explode on death, and didn't even have a basic M1 attack. But alas, how times have changed. The Detonator is now an extremely versatile zombie that's capable of weakening down several survivors at once for your teammates to finish off. The Kami zombie is currently the best zombie in the game because of how its upgrades take it to the next level. I'm not necessarily saying that you need to max out your Kami zombie for it to be good, but putting a few points into speed are definitely going to help out. The Kami zombie is very tanky in terms of HP, especially when maxed out. You're able to get in there, start M1ing people, and then as soon as things go south, you detonate and damage everyone around you. This zombie outperforms a charger because right now, survivors are mostly sticking together in groups, and the Detonator is able to really take advantage of that. You're basically going to be doing guaranteed damage on multiple people every time if you buy a Kami zombie. The Kami zombie will not detonate if you kill it with a headshot, however, some players I've seen are able to jump up when they're about to die and then force the survivors to end up shooting their torso instead. This is especially punishing to players who have bad aim and can't react quickly, particularly the mobile players. Currently, the Undead Coming's player base is 50 to 60% mobile players, so this zombie especially excels at exploiting that weakness. And in case you don't feel like doing all that, you can just manually detonate with the E key. The Kami zombie only costs 9 bricks to spawn, making it an excellent early and endgame choice. The most versatile of all the zombies, he's going to the A tier. For a good period of time, people were convinced that the Charger was indisputably the best zombie. For the most part, this was agreeable. People were still getting used to the game, the Charger was slightly stronger, and it was able to quickly munch people's health. It was good. Now that survivors are starting to unlock stronger weapons and are starting to become more experienced, this isn't quite the case. You see, survivors are generally using weapons like SMGs and assault rifles right now, which can be used to spray the Charger when it's trying to dodge your bullets. The Charger was previously good at the game's launch because everybody was just using pistols and you were able to hop around and charge without getting shot up. Also, survivors tend to stay in groups more than ever now, as opposed to the launch, where they kind of split up and were easy targets for the Charger to stun and beat up. The Charger is good for attacking single targets, typically those newer players who stray too far from the group in the early game. This is beneficial because in the early game, you're trying to get some easy kills to get some extra people on the zombie team. Also, if the survivor team is spawn camping, you can just use your dash ability to run out of the spawn and avoid being melted and wasting 10 bricks. Ultimately, however, the Charger is slow and it dies quickly if everybody is playing in a big group, so there's better options in these situations. He is definitely the best noob stomper though. And if you see vulnerable players, then this is your guy that can really exploit that weakness and win the game for the zombie team. Overall, I'd place him in the A tier behind the Kami. The basic zombie was the most boring zombie to play in the 2021 version of the Undead Coming, only beaten by the Kami zombie because it was useless. However, with the introduction of zombie upgrades, The basic zombie really gets to shine now as a viable pick. A big buff to the zombie is the ability for it to upgrade to the 20 walk speed. That's crazy. You're able to hop around and dodge bullets, you can slip past survivors and hit them from behind to farm red bricks in the early game. He's beautiful. You're also able to upgrade his damage and health to help you in the early game as well. However, the greatest part of the default zombie is the fact that he's completely free to spawn, and this allows you to save up your red bricks for other zombies like the Charger, the Kami, and the tank. Experienced zombie players can spam spawn the basic zombie over and over again to get the tank within the first minute of the match. I personally have only maxed out my starter zombie speed and have yet to max out the damage and the health, but that's just because the speed is just so useful for getting those early game hits, which leads to more red bricks, which leads to stronger zombies. In case you didn't know, you get the same amount of red bricks for an M1 no matter how much damage that you do. So in the normal zombie's case, you might as well just max out his speed first. Because at the end of the day, this guy is mostly used for getting red bricks for a better zombie. Either way, he's amazing because of his flexibility and the fact that he's the only zombie who's free to spawn. He goes in the top of the B tier. The tank is honestly not the most useful zombie, despite tank zombies' reputation in every Roblox zombie game sense. Like, usually when a tank spawns, the game tips in the zombie's favor. This isn't really the case in the Undead Coming. First of all, the elephant in the room, the tank costs 50 bricks. 50. That's 5 chargers and 5 detonators. That's a big risk that you're willing to take. Because if everybody's grouped up and you spawn in one of the spawn camp spots, your tank will get absolutely melted by everybody firing on it. It's a difficult zombie to use, and it's not particularly helpful where a detonator or a charger could have just stepped in for cheaper. The tank is a zombie who benefits and basically relies on other zombies playing off of it, and that is not always reliable and of itself. And if you spend 50 bricks on a tank, you want that shit to be reliable. Another downside is that there's a cooldown on tank spawning and no other zombie has this feature. It's honestly not a great pick. I would call it a noob stomper, but even then, the Charger just does that job better. He's slow, and if you get spawn camped, your tank is going to get melted, whereas the Charger could just dash out of spawn. Because of how unreliable and expensive that the tank is, I'm putting him in the C tier. The Crawler in the 2021 version of the Undead Coming was practically the best zombie because it was the only one besides the tank that could even touch the survivors. But here, there's just better options. If you're trying to deal damage to survivors for a cheap price, you're much better just picking the default zombie. The Crawler costs 3 red bricks. Any, if not all, situations dictate that the basic zombie is better here because it's free. This is just an unneeded waste of money, especially because when you upgrade the other zombies, they get speedy anyways. There's really just no need to pick the Crawler. He brings nothing interesting to the table that a basic zombie just couldn't do better. These guys work so much better as NPC zombies than actual player zombies. However, unlike the zombie that I'm about to talk about, at least the Crawler does damage, so... Because it basically has no niche to fill, but still does damage. It's funny that I have to clarify this. The Crawler is going in the C tier as well, behind the tank. This sucks saying this because he's my favorite zombie and always has been since 2021. But the Hazard zombie is literally useless. Everything this zombie does, a normal zombie could have done better. Let's start with the basics. A Hazard zombie spits a small cloud of gas, but the gas only damages survivors who don't have a gas mask on. This means, in order to do damage, you have to repeatedly spit at the survivors to break their gas mask. Or, you can target the noobs who don't know about the game yet and don't wear their gas mask. But if you want to stomp a noob, just play the fucking Charger. Or a basic zombie. Okay, so let's just think of the zombie as a passive utility. He's not meant to kill, he's meant to break gas masks and punish campers. He fails at this job too. The gas clouds do not deteriorate the gas masks fast enough, so when people just get hit by the spit, they just walk right out. Also, every time that you peek out of cover to spit at the survivors, you expose yourself to them. The Hazard is weak, you will die extremely quickly even if you're trying to play safe because the survivors will literally hunt you down. Why? Because the Hazard drops its gas mask upon death, and that gas mask is basically the upgraded version of the default one. So basically, you pay 20 red bricks to do absolutely no damage to the humans, then die and get them a brand new shiny gas mask. You literally do nothing but help the human team by picking this guy. Why is this in the game, you might ask? Because it's a leftover feature from the 2021 version of Tuck. Also, yeah, the Hazard zombie was useless in that version too. When I talked to the old developers about it in 2021, they acknowledged and they joked about how useless that this zombie was and admitted that the mechanic of it dropping a gas mask was born out of them not understanding what they fully wanted the hazard zombie to be at the time. The hazard gas does, in fact, heal your teammates. However, the time to kill zombies in this game is just way too fast for healing to be useful. Especially because the most picked zombies don't need to be healed. The detonator self-destructs, the default zombie is just there for farming, and the charger usually charges in and dies anyways. Right now in the game, there's no place for zombie healing, especially when it takes so long for the spit to cool down. Not to mention you can't heal yourself as a hazard, which is just bullshit. The zombie literally prioritizes peeking around corners and hiding, and yet you die in 1 to 2 shots because you can't heal yourself. Some may say that the hazard is a good counter to spawn camping, but this is absolutely not true in practice, only in theory. If somebody is spawn camping, as soon as you spawn in as the hazard, you're going to instantly die. You don't have time to even spit the first shot because of how long the animation is. And even if you do, the gas cloud is not big enough whatsoever. It's so comically small. If you shoot a gas mask at someone who's spawn camping, they're just going to move 3 steps to the right. And now you're dead and down 20 bricks. The fact that the hazard costs 20 bricks is just insane. 20 bricks, seriously. That's 2 chargers, 2 Kamis, and half of a tank. That is absolutely horrid. I think the only reason this guy costs so much is to deter your teammates from wanting to play it. This zombie just costs way too much for being beyond useless. You're literally helping the other team. There is only one thing that the hazard can do that no other zombie can do effectively. It can kill survivors who are inside of the helicopter during the escaping cutscene. This is actually really hard to do, and I've only managed to pull it off twice. In order to pull it off, you have to have the survivor's gas mask broken. You have to perfectly spit your gas inside of the helicopter, and they have to die to the gas before the helicopter takes off. Also, you have to be a hazard in the end game, which nobody does. When the timer hits 1 minute, everybody's spawning tanks and detonators and chargers to get their last kills in. Nobody on planet Earth is going to be playing Hazard with the intent of getting a kill. Because the Hazard doesn't do any damage and because the gas fails to be helpful for healing and fails to provide an actual threatening obstacle, as well as the fact that he only exists to die, waste bricks, and help the human team, the Hazard zombie is going into D tier. Sorry, I love him so much, but he's just not good at anything. He was one of the zombies that desperately needed some buffs coming off of the 2021 version, and somehow, this was the only zombie to stay the exact same. It's sad, really. Alright, that was my brief little tier list. I'm editing a longer video right now, so this was just something to help take my mind off of things for a bit. Hopefully this tier list will change around when zombies are buffed or nerfed and new zombies are added that'll bring new synergies to the existing ones. As always, I'm Breadian, and I talk about niche Roblox games. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye!